Following Robert's presentation on the development from egg to show pen, Jimmy Hughes here has kindly agreed to give us a presentation of preparing the birds to show pen. So we're going to hand it over to Jimmy and Robert here to take on to continue.
Well, Jonathan, thank you. My end was up, but I'm gonna let you take over. So,
Well,
do you want your first word here?
No, well, first of all, start off by saying we normally, if we're bathing maybe 40 birds for a show, we would do them in the utility room in the house. Now, my wife, Roberta, who shows birds too, also mostly does most of the bathing, and I do most of the preparation and drying. And as I say, so what I'm doing tonight is I've got 3 buckets here. If you're only washing 2 or 3 birds or half a dozen, you can use buckets. And I've 3 buckets. The first bucket is the soap, and a lot of people have different ideas about what to use for soap. But when we're bathing the black, we use henna shampoo. And then the second bucket's for rinsing, and the third bucket's for rinsing. But the third bucket, we put a wee bit of vinegar in it, because in my opinion, when they dry off, they have a wee bit of a better sheen on them, you know.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and I'll bath this. And Pekin, this is the Pekins I'm doing now. They're quite quiet birds, you know, and they're quite easy to bath.
So, is that all the preparation needs done to one of these?
Well,
birds?
I'll actually do the toenails now first,
Okay.
you know, before I bath the bird. You know, and there's a wee weight end on here, and I just take it off to about there. These nails are not too bad at the minute in this bird. That one's
How
okay.
often would you need to do that then, Jimmy?
Well, you'll see a nail there a wee bit longer. You normally need to do it if you go about every 4 or 5 weeks, you know, if you're showing, you know. Some of them go very quick. And I just don't take it too far down, otherwise you can bleed. Just past the wee white tip. About this length here. Now this bird's a wee bit dirty because it's not bathed yet. And then with the beak, the wee white end on it, you'll see a beak turning over. Sometimes you see them worse. And we just take a wee bit off that side and a wee bit off that side. There's all sorts of different clippers you can get to do the job, but I always find these handy, and at most shows people come to me and ask me, Jimmy, where's your clippers? Because I know I'm never without them, you know. And so that's that there, and some of these birds, this is only actually a pullet that was early on this year, and it has a good sheen already, and it hasn't been bathed, and it has good wings. You know, I'll maybe come to talk about faults later on a wee bit, you know,
certainly, yes,
and we'll go ahead bathing it so we can get on with drying. Because we have one that I done earlier on, and it's finished and ready for completely dry, or we'll be here maybe for a half an hour drying this one. So we'll just gently set it into here. They usually don't mind it. Some birds do, some other breeds of birds do, but I like to get a wee sponge and then put a wee bit more soap onto the sponge. As I say, my wife does most of the bath and just give it a good bath all over. And sometimes you have to steep the bird. Sometimes you have to steep the bird
Really dirty.
in a wee bit of water if the feet get too dirty.
Yeah.
And the feet feathers get too dirty in the nails, I would steep it in a wee inch of water for 10 minutes maybe before I bath it. And there's my phone ringing. And it's Charlie, my grandson. There's maybe you could take that there. But anyway, you can put that bit out of him. So we'll give it a good wash and a good bath underneath the wings, all over it. Oh. Make sure you're underneath the wings and underneath the body.
There's a certain sense we enjoying it, don't
Oh, I enjoy it. We sit there and float there, you know, but as I say, we usually do it in the utility room. The birds are done in the sink.
Yep.
And in that case, you only need 2 buckets, for instance, because I'm using one for washing tonight. And we're outside here on a lovely evening.
Judy Croner
So-
sticks and
I'll give it a really good, you know, and round its vent and stuff, a good wash round the vent. and a good wash around the feet feathers. The feet feathers is quite important, and you might get the odd wee bit of dirt on the feet feather that you need to be quite careful with getting it off, because you can take some of the feet feathers away very easy, and the feet feather is a big part of the pekin. Have to have good feet feathers. Now, if you're noticing this wee pekin here, when I'm showing, I like to see their feet a wee bit more yellow than this, but these have been inside. You know, I always find they get really yellow feet when they're outside, and you feed them a wee bit of kibble maize. But then again, when it comes to white birds, the kibble maize can colour the bird a wee bit, you know. I've always found, well, that would nearly do a bath that bird, because it wasn't too dirty, but she has been inside. And as I say, she's only a pullet, but I think she's going to develop into a quite good bird. So into that bucket there for a good rinse. I even round her face and round her head, I give it a good wee scrub.
With that particular bird now, we're a month off Castlewellan Show. Would that particular bird be ready for a Castlewellan Show?
Just about, because
okay,
as a
yeah.
pullet, you know,
Yes,
as a
yes,
pullet. But then there's no pullet classes like in England where you would get pullet classes and hen classes.
Okay.
But she would be in, but she would be good, and then into the rinsing bucket. Can I put the vinegar into there?
Yeah,
Yeah?
you did, yeah.
A wee bit of vinegar into there. So it doesn't take an awful lot. It can spend longer, as I say, if the bird's dirty. What I do then is just take the excess, a wee bit of dirt there still, needs to come off. The seam's already at that. Take the excess water off. And then on the towel.
Well, you certainly are thorough.
Huh?
You certainly are thorough with this.
Well, yeah, you know, you can actually wrap them in a towel sometimes.
Oh, I keep them in it?
And keep them in it for a wee minute or two, because that's what happens in my wife's bath. She wraps it up in the towel, sets it down until I come back in to collect the bird.
Okay.
But it's handy others too. There's an awful lot of people that their wives don't take much interest in it, you know. So
You were fortunate enough.
Huh?
You're
Fortunate enough,
yeah.
she keeps Favreau and she keeps blue pickings.
Okay.
And she was actually show champion of the last Oma show with one of her blue pickings. And it's very seldom a blue picken will win show champion.
All right, okay.
You know.
Should be pleased
It's
with
usually a black or a white comes up 1st, you know. And that tile's pretty wet. The tiles do get wet, so I'll give it another wee last minute to this one. And on the wing and lift the wing and under the body. And all round.
What about like a mates and stuff and all that?
Oh, I will.
Do birds take much of that?
Well, if you look after the bird and you do it regularly, I mean, I use Frontline for do my bird. People say that's for cats and dogs, but it's the best thing I have ever found, and I've been using it for years. And there was a wee man from Scotland, Alan Edwards, who's a seabright man, who said to me about it years and years ago, and I started using it. I think the whole country nearly
Started
uses
using
it
as well, okay, yeah.
because I believe the Frontline, when you spray a wee touch in the back of it, it can kill the mate. I think the ivermectin that you can get is good too, but I think you might have to bite the bird to die. But I've always found if I do get a bit of mate, lucky enough at the minute I have no mate. You could have the cleanest boxes on earth and shave and exchange every couple of days, and you could still get mate, whatever way it happens, you know.
Well, obviously then you wouldn't really want mates for the birds to be showing.
Oh no, if a bird has any mate, if I take a bird out of a cage when I'm judging, I would just put it...
You judge as well, do you?
Oh, I judge.
All right, okay.
I'm on the Pekin Bantam Club panel of Great Britain.
Right, okay.
And I have judged like the Federation show in England, and I've judged the National, and I've judged the Scottish National over the years.
Right, okay.
I think I've done the National twice. So that would really be enough for that. And then
Do you prefer, Jimmy, having all birds washed for showing?
oh, every bird. Even if it looks spotless, you know, I would still bath a bird. Even if I've been to a show the week before, when you bring them home, I mean, they're in a pen. Mostly they're not put back out again. They're put in a
for
2 by
for the
2
next show.
pen, a single pen on their own for the next show, and they could still stand in dirt, and you know. And but as I say, sometimes if they've really kept really clean now, and only a wee bit of mark on their foot, I would just do the feet and stuff.
Full bath.
But especially if you're showing about 40 birds, because we show pigeons, I keep blacks, moles, whites, my wife keeps blues, and buff, and a cuckoo. My wife keeps them all.
A few milliflowers about too.
I
is
have
there?
few milliflowers, but the milliflowers aren't a standard in this country. You have to go into a non-standard class for them.
Now, what do you mean by standard now?
Standard is for the Pekin Club of Great Britain, or the
Standard is there certain colours which is standard?
uh-huh.
Okay, right.
You know, certain colours are standard. You know, like the blacks and the whites and the buffs and the mauves and the cuckoo. Oh, there's a lot of more standards, and
Okay.
lately silver partridge has become, there's partridge, but there's things like, and Colombian are standard, there's things like the milliflowers that you're talking about, are these chocolate pecans that are about now, you know, aren't standardized.
So say somebody had a chocolate pecan, would they be able to go to like a Castlewellan show with their bird?
No, we don't have a non-standard. We do.
Yes.
We do have a non-standard class
Okay.
on a Castlewellan, so yes, they would be able to go. And there
Okay.
would probably be 2 classes, a non-standard hen class and a non-standard. So you'll end up getting loads of colours and loads of different, like silvers and different things, or not silvers, the milliflowers. What other colours is non-standard? I don't keep any. The only non-standard bird I keep is milliflowers, and I haven't really kept them for very long. I always stick to the standards, you know.
Yes,
Well, that'll do that there, and we'll give it a
One
wee
of
bit
the things we should point out, Jimmy, that the show at Castlewellan here was to be a Pekin show.
Oh yes, it was to be a
And,
Pekin Radio show.
You could tell us a wee bit about the Pekin Club.
Well, the Pekin Club, when it's a Pekin Club show, that would mean there has to be a Pekin registered judge.
Yes, that's
The
what
judge
Mr.
show.
Roger Thomas was to be with us.
Roger Thomas was to be with, and he's the secretary of the Pekin Club in England. He was to be with us, the judges, yes. The Federation here had a Pekin,
Yes.
and I judged at the last one there was, because I think there's
So if
only
anybody was really interested in getting part of the Pekin Club, they would contact Mr. Thomas.
Roger Thomas, if they want to join the Pekin Club, or they want to, maybe I
Yeah.
could just,
Would you say, sorry, that the pecans are sort of coming up, that there's more about now?
oh, there's definitely more Pekins about now, definitely, that, and it's great to see it too, because when you're showing, I remember showing birds and going to a big show, maybe Ballymena, maybe a Federation, and showing maybe 15 Pekins, and maybe when it came to the class it throws 3 blacks, maybe there's only 4 in the class, you know. And sometimes in the any of our colour classes, like the mauves and the blues, there was nobody else, you know, and you had no competition. I would rather see a class, if I was showing 3 blacks in it, with about 10 or 12 in the class, and then if you win the class you won something, but if there's no competition in the class, then, you know, but it is a lot more coming up, and there's a lot more classes even getting put on in this country too.
Anybody that would want to contact the Pekin Club, you can contact him, Roger Thomas, or they can email him on any other Pekin colour at btconnect.com. I think that's good. And if anybody want any more details can contact Jimmy
I just
or
go
even
ahead
Robert
before
here.
the 3 birds get
So just move these buckets back.
I start off making sure I have this blue hut, as I dry here, maybe I do underneath the wings and underneath the bottom, and underneath.
So you're saying
Underneath the skirt here, you call this the skirt,
well, we'll talk about that later.
you know,
So you're saying then whenever Pekin regional. Is there any sort of, do you get rosettes or anything maybe?
Well,
Or what does is that achieve?
Well, it's a key when you want to show like that there, it's good to win. You do get cups and you do get
There is rosettes for that and stuff?
Rosettes for every class you do the regional.
Okay,
show.
right, yeah. So that's what a regional sort of means then?
That regional means that you do a rosette for the best black, the best white, the best all the colours, and then there's an overall champion, best taken overall, and there's also a reserve best. As I say, in England, you go down to lower classes, the best opposite sex, and the best.
So we have Jimmy, if you didn't mind, you would maybe turn this off because we find it difficult to record it.
You want to put that one back
Well,
in?
So-
there's another wee way
So I'm just going to bring this girl out that you just previously sorted out, and we'll just let her stand there, and then you can talk on there, Jimmy.
Aye.
So
Well,
apologies.
this wee one here, I'm going to put in the cage I have in here with a dryer in it. Now, I have another wee setup, but don't dry them all with the dryer, because if I'm washing 30 birds or 40 birds for a show, I have a wee setup in here where I have cages like them. You can even maybe video that there a wee bit, you know, like that, and I have
It's more or less a row of show cages.
a roll of show cages, and I have a blow heater and let it blow through. I put towels down the front of it and I let it blow through and it dries them, and then I rotate them about, you know, a wee bit.
It's not all
And,
manual work.
and I don't like them to completely dry, because that's why you never bath a bird the night before a show. I mean, I've seen people arrive at the show with the bird wet, they've only bathed it that morning. So it would take you, as a show Saturday, to bath them Wednesday, Thursday, and by Saturday they've dried out and their feathers are plumed up again like this one here, you know. And it's very important. Do you want to stick that in there, Andre, for me? And I'll go over this. I'll go over this bird. Now that's a pullet there, that one that I bathed up with this year's bird very early on in January, because I bred a lot more birds this year than usual because there was no shows because of the COVID. And so this is last year's bird, and that bird I just bought was bred by this. This is the mother of it, you know.
Yes.
Now, if you want to go into some details of what a pigeon should look like, I mean, I go to some shows and there's maybe children on it or who want to come into the hobby, and I see a bird they have and they say, what do you think of it? Well, I have to tell them the truth. Somebody maybe sold them it as a show bird, and it's not a show bird, and I have to tell them that, because children can be disappointed if they don't get a card or do, and I wonder why, because they buy a bird and it's not the right standard. You know, it's too high off the ground. It's just not
Maybe
the Pekin type.
Maybe you can point some of those things out.
That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now, I'm just saying first. So the best thing to do is, now, a Pekin has to have a good cushion, like this here, a good cushion. And at the front, they call it the skirt, should be touching the ground like this. The skirt should be touching the ground. Nice and round, looking like a football, you know. And one of the points I look out for is wings. You know, wings have to have a full wing. You know, these birds have been in the breeding pen, so they might have lost a feather or two, you know.
Yes, the
But,
condition of
you
time
know,
of
the
the year.
condition of this time of the year, you know.
Yeah.
But a split wing means if you open the wing and there's a big gap like this, that is a fault. That's a fault. That's a fault right away. I would put that bird down right away, you know, no matter how good the bird looks. Now, and also they do tend sometimes to get a split up the front. Well, it's not a fault, but it's undesirable. It takes a wee bit of the look away from the bird, you know. But some birds, it could be look like this at home, and by the time you get to a show, it gets a split. Nobody seems to know yet why, you know. Nobody seems to know. They keep saying it's
Sounds like a
nerves, it's
nervous
this,
thing,
it's travelling. That's one thing I know. You know, I have a white Pekin cock in there, and it never had a split. And then I looked at it yesterday and it's got a split, and it never had a split, you know. But it could go away again tomorrow, you know.
Okay,
Some of them
yeah,
have a split all the time.
So do you not? You don't want to be able to see their feet whenever you
No,
have them
no,
sitting?
no. That's the way it should be.
And no,
down
and
there,
no length
feet.
of legs.
Well,
either.
you should be able to see feet better, you know what I mean? As I say, with this bird being in the breeding pen, the feet better aren't as good. Now, I talked there earlier on about yellow feet. That's the way I would like to see the colour of a Pekin's feet when it's shown.
And you're wanting
Yellow.
To see, you would like to see the 4 toes.
The 4
All the
toes.
same size, no wee small.
The 4 toes, no small toes, no toe smaller than the other one.
Yes.
And as I said before, the beak on this one here needs a wee clip too, you know, and it's toenails.
Would there be anything desirable on the
On the
comb?
eye,
On the
aye,
comb?
the
On
comb.
the comb? Or-
Well, the cone, oh certainly, the cone's a big part too, that they should have 5 or 7 serrations on the cone. And the eye colour, the eye colour should be yellow, orange or red. Now when you say red, it's like a really dark orange, you know, and that's the eye colour I do prefer. This is more orangey, you know, this one,
Yep.
you know, but then again, it's out of condition at the minute a wee bit, you know. And Andrew just brought one of my wife's blue pigeons out here. Now, they're in the breeding pen as well because of the shows. If I had had shows on, a lot of the birds would have been singled out for
Yes,
showing.
I know, yeah.
And they wouldn't be packed in the head like this. Oh, they wouldn't be packed in the head. When it comes to blue pigeons, there's a lot of talk about the colour. You know, the colour. They say pigeon blue, and I always say, "What pigeon blue?
What's
What
pigeon
part
blue?
of the pigeon do you mean?" You know. But as I say, it's a wee bit dull on it in the head. It's been in the breeding pen. But I'm finished now breeding. We're finished now. Bred on, as I said, a wee bit long. Now there's the wings in that pekin. This isn't the actual bird that won show champion. She has about 8 blue hens in there. And it's very hard to buy them off her. Yeah, she doesn't make partners on him, you know. So that's a blue. Now that's not the one. The one that she has is a wee bit molten enough, so it wouldn't show you that. She could be a wee bit
So
lower.
Jimmy, I've seen some folks putting powder and stuff on birds.
Oh, aye, well-
Would these be required for
No, well I don't. Some people.
and comb rating
some-
and stuff?
Well, as I said again, this is a buff. This is my wife's buff rooster. It's bred well this year. It's bred a lot of buffs more. Now its cone's a bit big. Its cone's a wee bit big. And as I say, 5 serrations well. But it's not a bad type. Buff's one of the hardest birds that I find to get a good type. To get the
Okay,
real good
uh-huh.
type. Good wings, good enough wings, and with good enough feet feather. But it has bred a lot of young ones from my wife this year, you know. And then I think
Now what colour would this be?
that's cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
This is a cuckoo. Now, she's a good bird too, good cushion, but again in the breeding pen, her
Yes.
head's packed. She was late laying, so I've now got about 6 cuckoos out from her, and she's a bit rough around the cushion here because of being in with the rooster, you know, and her feet feathers, and I say she's not bad, you know, but she's good wings, you know, she's good markings, she's good and low.
What are you looking for in the wing colours there now?
Huh?
What are you looking for in the wing?
Well, I'd just like to see it barred
Like a
that,
zebra
you know,
crossing?
Zebra crossing,
Right,
sort of
okay.
thing.
Uh-huh.
And then
Through right down.
Through right down.
Right down through.
Right down
as much
through.
as possible.
as much as possible,
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
quickly right down through, you know. Over the years, our people, when I judged one of the big shows in England, the National, I think it was, I noticed a lot of the cuckoos had a lot of barn in them because there was a Pekin, and there still is barred Pekin.
Okay.
And they're much like this, but they're more barred, you
Yes,
know.
uh-huh.
And people put the barred into the cuckoo a wee bit,
Right.
you know. So the bards nearly practically disappeared. I think the last show, even in England, there was none, or else there was one, you know, barred, you know. So that's that, as I say. So the big point is they got birds. See how quiet they are. Like I mean,
Yes.
there's other birds. there's other birds I say would be away like a shot. And this is why I specify these birds for children.
For children, yes.
For children, they're brilliant birds for children. People come along and you set it down because no wee child wants a bird that's going to start flying, jumping all around, you know. Now this is only a pullet bed this year too. Now again, she's not bathed, you know. And when you're shampooing, bathing these for a show, it takes a wee bit more work, you know. That's only a pullet this year's bird, and look at the wings it has on it, you know. And I'm very happy with this wee bird. Wee bit marked at the minute, as I say, but it wasn't bathed, you know. There's all sorts of remedies people have for bathing white pigeons, you know. As long as you try to keep them as clean as possible,
makes it easier.
it makes it a lot easier, you know. And as I say, it's nice eye colour and nice coat. It will bath up well, but a lot of people use different ideas for getting a Pekin weight. My weight just swears in using another shampoo. As I say, I'm putting white vinegar into that there, and the white vinegar whitens them, you know.
Okay,
you know. Some people use curtain whitener and steeping the bird in it for 10 minutes before you wash it. Sometimes it can make the stain worse in the bird, you know, but the later you get them for the show, the better. The later you get them and the cleaner you get them.
Well, certainly they didn't seem to mind too much getting washed anyway.
Well,
you
I
know,
don't mind getting washed.
like a breed that enjoys
that
it.
wee plant there shaping up well for being about 4 months old, 5 months old, you know. So,
well, do you try some of these shampoos out on before you put them on the entire bird? They would all be, you know, animal friendly and all.
animal friendly. You know, I mean, years and years ago, nobody used anything but Lux.
Yes.
Lux. That's what they would do. Lux flakes is what everybody used to wash birds, you know. And I don't even know why you can still get it now. But then again, all these fancy shampoos or conditioning and all make that have been out in them days, you know. So she always makes sure she uses one with conditioner on it, you know. But then it's all to do with looking after them, coming up to the show. They don't all of a sudden become a show champion because they've been bathed, you know what I mean? It's all to do with the feed and different tonics and warming them, and you know, you could go on all day about them, you know.
And I was saying they don't all make a grade.
They don't all make a grade, no, they don't all make a grade. You know? And that's why I don't like people come to me and say, I'll give 20 white pigeons and you could sell me a pair of them, you know, and maybe they're only 4 months old. I like to see a pigeon well matured, you know, before I sell it. Well, not that I like to sell rubbish to people, you know. I like to make sure if it's pet quality, it's pet quality. If it's show quality, I keep maybe half a dozen whites, half a dozen blacks, and half a dozen of each. Maybe later on in the year, cut down to 4 of each, you know, that I'm going to show. You know what I mean? Obviously, that when a bird comes out like this here, now this will not be going anywhere. This one, you know, because I think it's good potential. You know, the same as the wee black we just bought. You know.
Well, usually on show day we see a lot of men arriving and ladies as well, spending hours sort of putting the final touches.
Aye, well, the final touches.
But the final touch is important. But at the end of the day, if you haven't got the quality,
no, if you haven't got the quality, you can spend all day. You know what I mean? People put baby oil on. People put rosin on.
Where are you talking the baby oil?
On their comb. A small brush. Now there's big birds like barn owls and bigger birds with big cones. You can do it with your fingers, but like a wee bird like this, you can just get a wee small brush and a special head dressing you can buy.
For chickens?
For chickens. Okay. It's sort of it stings them a wee bit to me to make them go redder and redder and redder, you know. But if a bird's fit enough, you don't really need it. Maybe I use mostly a wee bit of Vaseline mixed with a wee bit of oil, a wee bit of olive oil, a wee bit of Vaseline. That's most what I use, you know. Because normally if I have a bird that's not fit, there's no point in showing it, you know. That's the way I look at it, you know. But as I say, it depends on just depends on what people like, you know. As I say, what they like to do themselves. You know, I can't advise anybody say this is the best thing to use, you know what I mean, or not the best thing to use, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, certainly, Andre, I think that was very
you know,
enjoyable.
if there's anything else you want to ask me about the pig, you know what I mean. As I say, I have a couple of pigeons that bred this year, to tell you the truth, and they haven't got the eye colour that I would like them to have, and they came from quality birds that had good eye colour. You get all these defaults and stuff, you know.
Really sum up then, Jimmy. This is the most ideal bird for young people to
Oh,
start off
definitely the
with,
best.
for children
Ideal.
especially.
For children especially, because if you get the like of Belgians or Dutch, you know, and my grandson there, he keeps barn builders, which are bigger birds, they're nice birds, and they're quite pleasant too, you know, they're not wild, you know, you always find the smaller birds can be more flighty, you know.
And these is part of the True Bantam section
Oh,
of the
they're
show.
part of,
Yeah,
shouldn't we said that?
Yes.
The true bantams are birds with no large counterparts. It means they don't have any large ones. That's what a true bantam is. You know, and all our breeds, heavy breeds, you get a barn out or a bantam, and then you get a standard large one, you know.
Sorry, Jim, we touched on that earlier about the regional show. If anybody had pigeons, are they entitled to rosettes if they're not in the club?
No, sorry, no, not really. You know, yeah. If it's a regional show, that's right. Good question. If it's a regional show and you put birds in, you're not really entitled to get the rosette or the card. So if it's a regional show and it's only something like, I don't know, £7 a year is a picking club
To
now.
be in the club, yeah. So certainly it's
You know,
it'd be
worth
worthwhile
joining.
being in the club.
And you can get other things too, badges. What happened to you? Run out of battery? You can get badges.
Okay.
Cut that better. Oh, right, do this, but we're finished anyway, so as I say, you join the Pekin Club, they'll send you a magazine every 3 months, or not, maybe every 4 months, you know.
Okay, yeah.
And the news goes in it. If you send them the results of shows in when you've won the show, it'll be in it. And write-ups, people put write-ups in them, and it's great reading, you know, to learn about pigeons, to learn who won the big shows in England. There's all results is in it, you know.
We really appreciate you taking time this afternoon
Well,
to give us this
well,
detail that we can put onto the website for
I hope it
Castlewellan
looks
Show.
alright. I hope it's okay.
That's very good.
And I'd
really
just like to say, hopefully now, if everything goes according to plan, next year the show hopefully will be up and running again. And I hope to see a lot of young exhibitors taking heed of this information and seeing them at the show. We'd much appreciate it.
The other thing was, Robert, we could mention about the junior handler section.
Junior
And
handlers.
Jimmy normally would look after that with us. So that was something that we highly recommend
That's the
as
thing
well.
too. Yeah, junior handling means a child bringing a bird to me in a box, and then me telling them to put it into a cage, and then asking them about the bird. Like I've told you about the cushion and the skirt and the beak pattern, and telling me about the bird. And
You'd be wanting them to know how they've washed the bird.
I want to know how they've washed the bird. I want to know what they've done to prepare the bird for the show. Just their whole knowledge on knowing, not just getting a bird or some of their family, giving them a bird,
lifting it out,
and taking it and putting it in the cage, and then you lift it out and they know nothing about it, you know. So it's not really taking time to learn about the exhibit that they're showing, you know. That and then putting it into a cage and taking it out of a cage, all very important too, you know. You know.
Thank you.
So you judge on that there, and then there's also juvenile classes at the show, just for juveniles. I think, you know, up to about 15 or 16 for juveniles, you know. And they're good classes for people just starting off. And like I said before, if somebody has a Pekin and you think it was in stilts or too high or no cushion or no this, you better tell them the child, you know what I mean? If you want the show quality, you have to buy quality, you know?
Okay, well no, I certainly think you've sort of wrapped that up very well now, and I say that's dead on, folks. Thank you very much.
Seems alright, Carl. I hope it comes